Time to get crack-a-lackin'. So
People will love us no matter what.
my mum, who religiously listens to this, thanks, Mum. I'm sure she'll appreciate it regardless.
Yeah. I think my dad also listens on occasion. Oh, no, because he'll be like, oh, hey, I actually gave one of your episodes a listen. I'm like, oh, thanks.
Oh, thanks,
No,
Dad.
but it is good. It's good.
We're saying just before we started, shout out to Olipop.
Yeah, love them.
It's an infrequent. I offer you that you can grab something out of the fridge every time you come here, Seve. And it's pretty infrequent that you actually, turn around and grab something.
Yeah. I'm very picky, but I'm a big fan of Olipop because it's not like the most sugary thing ever, but it tastes very good. Yeah.
Yep.
There's a lot of sodas like that now. There's I forget this one, but there's a soda that has they have this sticker. It's like prebiotic. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I think these guys
Are
say
these
too.
prebiotic?
Yeah,
What the
yeah.
hell does that mean? It says
got
prebiotic.
botanicals, and plant fiber.
Probiotic would mean it's good for your biome or something.
It's like got bacteria in it,
So
basically.
what the hell is prebiotic?
It's food for bacteria, I guess.
Okay.
I think that's it.
That sounds right to me, where it's like somewhere in the process bacteria are used, but like the end output is probably still the same sugar water. That's my guess. Like it seems like a little bit of snake oil.
It is a little, especially because with prebiotic, it's a bit of a funny term because almost all of your poop is already bacteria. Like in your gut, it's almost entirely bacteria eating the food, and then you eating some of the stuff that they've broken down on your behalf. And so your poop is just their leftovers, basically, and which is like 30%, and then 70% is them, right? And so everything's really quite prebiotic in that sense.
Very true. Yeah. I don't know what they're getting at, but you know what? We're sold. We're customers.
It tastes good. It makes me feel good about drinking a soft drink. And here, you're out here drinking unsweetened green tea. The vast majority of the time.
That's true. I've been trying to get off cold brew recently.
Oh, really? Okay. How much have you been having?
200 milligrams of caffeine in my 1 can a day, and then I'd like layer on like a ton of other stuff.
How do you know?
No, I like look at the caffeine in everything I drink because like caffeine does have an impact on me, but I have to get over a threshold. For a while, I didn't think it had any impact, but it definitely does.
Oh yeah,
you drink enough caffeine,
it'll get you going.
It's been a little bit of discourse on this lately. Like caffeine is kind of a drug that everybody does. Like a lot of people being like, you got this one substance you're addicted to, but I don't know.
It's important. You got to have some vice or another.
You gotta have some vices.
Makes you realize that
you don't
we're
want
all
to be a
just human.
perfect human. Who wants to be perfect? Nobody. Speaking of cold brew in the morning and whatnot, what's your morning routine like, Matt? I've been wanting to ask you this.
The morning routines are so hot right now, aren't they?
They are. I forgot about that. The guy with the banana peel on his head. Oh my gosh.
For people who haven't seen it, there's these like meme. It started off like quite serious. It's like a small title of the time at the bottom of this video, and it's like really fast cut, really perfect. Wake up 4:30 a.m. and then 4:32 jumps up and it's him standing up, and 4:35 he's walking out to the kitchen making a coffee.
Is this the one?
Yeah. Oh, I think this is one of them. He's peeling his mouth tape.
Every day at exactly 4 a.m., he does push-ups for 3 reps, followed by a 20-minute rest.
3 reps?
He gets straight into journaling. Don't worry, he's not on the
straight into journaling. This is the other thing. It's like I do wonder a lot with all of this. Like,
work-related.
Yeah. In fact, I saw some guy on a video almost exactly like this who said he made the video, and this is actually the laziest. I don't know if it's this guy, but it's one of these videos. It's actually the laziest guy ever. He made the video. They did it at like 10 a.m. You can see it's light. Like
they're like, it's 6 a.m., but it's actually
this
10
one,
a.m.
okay, it's dark outside, so it's probably not this guy.
Reasonable. Actually, it's hard to say if that's going to be 4 a.m. or not. That could be like 10 p.m. But let's see. So
what do you think you wrote? Dear diary. So anyway, with this whole journey, particularly if you're listening, it's just got it's a fast cut of a time and like some, let's be real, like over the top action. He's pouring the ice bath in a little glass bowl and he's splashing his face a minute later. And it's a lot.
And the banana peel on the face, I really don't get it. I was once at a WeWork and people were putting sugar masks on their face.
Okay.
And everybody was like doing this because it was just like a group activity you could do.
Is it when sugar mask? Is it just sugar, or is it like an abrasive thing you rub in, or?
I think it's probably a mix, but sugar is definitely a core component. And I know that because everything was sticky for like a week.
Oh.
They could not get like
Ants. That's how you get ants.
Yeah. Like it was crazy. I don't know why people do sugar masks.
No, I don't really honestly get why people do masks, period. So
Have you ever done any type of mask?
No, I kind of like the little tooth. You know, your girlfriend comes up with something on her fingers and she just like rubs your cheeks a little with the little.
Yeah, I get that. I did. I've done these like nose peel masks.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
That pulls all the blackheads out.
Pulls all the blackheads out.
Oh,
That's
that's
pretty
gnarly.
satisfying. I don't know if it actually does anything. It seems like the
just looks good.
jury is still out.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But it is satisfying to think, oh, all these little things were in my nose and now they're out. So
Now they're not. Thank God. I guess. I hope maybe it was my skin. No, my morning routine. I typically try to get straight out of bed when I wake up. Although I've been pretty bad at that recently. I feel like it makes the first roughly 5 minutes makes a huge difference with this logarithmic taper of if you get up when you wake up, like immediately, your day is jazzed. Honestly, you just have the best days consistently. And I think there's some correlation, but also some causation where on a great, you're going to go skiing. You're like, let's go. You get out of bed and you send it. Like, obviously, it was going to be a good day regardless. And that's why you're getting out of bed. But I do think there's something to your psyche that it helps with. I typically try to go for a run or cycle. Been running. We live in San Francisco. The hills are big. It's like really quite big. But I run up, it's Clipper Street. So there's a big hill in the middle of the city. It's about 120 meters of elevation gain to the top, which is 400-ish feet, 450 feet, something like that. And I just run up the hill. Just up the big hill.
that works. I also have a hill outside my apartment that I like to run up. I love running up a big hill because it's kind of like this like very solid benchmark. Like it's not going to go anywhere.
No.
You're always going to be staring at it.
Yep.
If you do it in 30 minutes, one day, that's the score to beat. Are you a Strava local legend?
No, not quite, but I'm close. I'm getting notifications from them the last like week or two, saying that like you're in it, hang in, you'll get there in just like you're in the neck and neck of it.
Pro tip for becoming a Strava local legend at running, which by the way, if you use the Strava app, you record all your runs and it records the route, and then people are basically competing for that route. So you become a local legend if you're like the best person for a week or a month to complete that route.
Social media for fitness.
Basically, yeah. And it's very automatic, which is cool. You don't have to do anything. You're just participating just by running.
Yep.
But my pro tip for becoming a local legend is to just like pick a very obscure route that probably nobody will pick.
Yep.
And then just keep doing that. And you'll very quickly become some kind of local legend.
Highway 1 northbound evening walk.
Oh my gosh, yeah, those along the highway walks. Oh my gosh. Have you ever had to like walk along highways? Like, have you ever found yourself doing that?
No, no, and cycling along them too terrifies me.
It's terrible.
There's a section here, driving south if you're going down towards Palo Alto, where one of the official bike routes includes the shoulder of the freeway.
Wow.
Right?
That's crazy.
Crazy. It's mental. I would take a significant detour to avoid that one myself.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. I when I was in Boston, they have all these elevated like sidewalks for biking. And that's like, once you get used to that, like everything else feels
Boston's
subpar.
great to cycle around.
It's incredible.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I found myself, I was there for a mate's wedding last May, roughly. And we find ourselves there on bike to work day. And we're like, well, we don't actually have work to go to because, we're off for this wedding.
Right.
But let's bike in somewhere. So it was like sort of the party bus bike train, maybe 100 people, roughly speaking, that came in together as part of this big mob. And God, is there like a bike path that you fit on? Like pretty much, it's pretty long by that point, but you get on there regardless.
Yeah.
And it was a vibe.
Yeah,
Boston cycles.
I would absolutely recommend. Like when I went to Boston with my girlfriend, like we would bike around Boston because if you're there in the summer, it's so beautiful. The downside of Boston is like the winter, but the upside, the summer, incredible.
Beautiful.
Summer and spring.
It was someone in Boston that told me that with global warming, weather's moving about 50 miles north on the East Coast per year.
Whoa!
So if you look at the weather 500 miles south of Boston, that's what it's going to be in a decade. That's pretty nice.
Hey, all right.
Real estate in Boston's already expensive.
Man, maybe we should be on the East Coast. What are we doing? We took too many bets on San Francisco. I feel like the weather in San Francisco is a constant, though. There's something I want to pull up. I don't know if you saw this, but Andre Karpathy, former director of AI at Tesla, and kind of renowned for his like courses on LLMs and stuff like that.
Extremely. Oh my God. He's one of those educators on YouTube who's just, every time he drops a video, it's just extremely prolific.
Yes.
He's huge. And he comes off so humble as well. I love the way he teaches. It's amazing.
It's very direct and like it doesn't talk down to you.
No, it's awesome.
He's the only guy who I downloaded one of his 3-hour videos before getting on a flight and I just watched it the whole flight. I wasn't like bored or anything. So he's just a really good educator.
Extremely good. Yep.
Yeah. So he really wanted to get to the bottom of sleep trackers. And so he got 4 sleep trackers, I think Aura, Whoop, 8 Sleep, and then Apple Watch. I want to say are the 4 that he sort of did. And he just recorded all the data and like benchmarked them. And also recorded his mood and stuff like that to figure out which one is like truly the best.
Yeah.
So his result of this was Whoop and Aura are both really, really good.
Wow.
And 8 Sleep is worse, but still has like usable data. And Apple Watch does not have usable data.
Really?
It's basically a random number generator. So if you're using an Apple Watch to track your sleep, it sucks. It's just not even worth it.
That doesn't really surprise me that much because I do have an Apple Watch and I infrequently wear it to sleep because I don't really want this big bulky thing. I roll over in the night and smack my girlfriend in the face by accident with a big bulky watch. It scares me. I don't know why it's a fear, but it's just one of those little fears that I have and I never want to do. So I don't wear my watch to bed for that exact reason. But, well, one, I see he's flexing on us. He's got Andre Karpathy here on his data, has a screenshot of the 9 hours and 2 minutes of sleep that night. Thanks, Andre. Jeez, wow, that's serious.
Something interesting that he complained about is that, and one of the reasons he likes Aura over Whoop, although Whoop is probably the most usable for people. So if you don't know Whoop and Aura, Whoop is like your traditional wrist thing.
It's kind of like a bit of a band. It hasn't got a face at all, like a watch.
There's no face, no screen. It really just does the one thing it does very, very well. And then Aura is a ring. So you put on an Aura ring and you wear that. And a lot of people don't like that form factor. Or I know somebody who actually became kind of allergic to their Aura ring.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, they would get a rash on the skin.
Oh, yeah, that's nasty.
You'll probably have that issue with any ring. So if you're okay with rings in general, you might be okay with Aura ring. But it is a little bit bulkier than a normal ring, I think.
It's quite a thick ring.
Yeah, it's a thick ring.
I had one for just a little bit myself, but it didn't gel with me too. I'm not used to wearing rings or really any jewelry. So.
Yeah. That's going to be tricky.
Yeah. But so the Aura ring and the Whoop were neck and neck, or was one better than the other?
They're basically neck and neck. My impression is they're both really, really high quality. He likes this one property of the Aura ring a little bit more. It doesn't give you the highest score very often. It's really, really difficult. So it's much more on a bell curve. And so you can really measure things a lot better. By contrast, the 8 Sleep, you can max that out and get 100% sleep score all the time. And for people who don't know, 8 Sleep is a mattress. So that's like a full bed. That's $4,000. It's very expensive.
It's an air-conditioned mattress.
Air-conditioned mattress. Yeah. But this was really fascinating to me because, Apple Watch is basically useless, according to this.
That's crazy. I tried it the other night because I was specifically having restless sleep, and I ran it. I was like, I'm pretty sure I did not wake up then. I'm convinced, in fact.
Yeah. Even if your sleep tracker isn't getting like totally perfect stuff, some things are really interesting to piece together from your data. So, for example, if my girlfriend is working really, really late and then she comes to bed, you can see if I woke up from when she came back in. That's very obvious. So I'm curious if Apple Watch would be able to pick up that stuff, because sometimes the disturbances are even more interesting.
Yeah.
Another thing that happens all the time, I'm sure this happens to many people in San Francisco, is like randomly somebody will just lay on the horn right outside the house, right?
Thanks.
So it is kind of interesting to see, how much is it just like these disturbances coming in? It's a huge downside of living in a city.
Yeah, massive. I mean, the thing is here as well, the buildings are pretty poorly maintained. You would assume that they would, double insulate the windows and all that type of stuff. But they don't seem to.
Yeah.
One of my few regrets from my time during YC was that we got these Aura rings when we started, basically. And you go away on retreat at the start of YC.
Wait, do they give you, YC gives you an Aura ring?
Aura had sponsored a booth and they were giving out Aura rings.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
So I grabbed one. That's where I got mine, which is why I wasn't super attached to it. I sort of tried it out for a little bit. I didn't love it. I was like, well, it was a marketing gimmick from this company to try and get me to wear it. So I don't need to keep it. But I haven't worn it since. But I do regret not cutting it open, because boy, oh boy, would that be interesting to see how those things go together.
Absolutely.
I'm only guessing here because I had a quick look for a teardown, and last time I looked, someone might have done it since, but I didn't find one. And I would love to see it, because you can imagine trying to squeeze the electronics.
Yeah.
And like super ultra low power electronics with an LED and a small sensor package. I think they do temperature and some kind of like skin translucency type stuff.
Interesting. Yeah.
I think that's it. But they squeeze that in a package it's literally like a piece of jewelry. It's a ring. It's minuscule.
It's so small. Let's pull up the Aura ring.
Along with Bluetooth, microcontroller, and obviously a battery to power the whole thing. There's a slight flat ridge in a section of it. So you can see in this one, this Gen 3 one has this slight flat ridge, which I think is where they're trying to squeeze in the battery. And then I imagine they just have a flex PCB that runs around the outside, connecting up everything else, presumably. And then they might have custom silicon as well, because otherwise this board is a little bit too small to make sense to me.
You think they maybe have custom silicon on this?
I'm not saying they must, but I would definitely believe it's possible. If you're trying to think about it. So the microcontroller they want is insanely low power. Mm-hmm. It's going to need they're going to need a charge control with, I think they're probably using the QI-Qi standard to do their ring charging. And they need only a handful of, but very highly specialized or medium specialized interfaces. They're not highly specialized, but, being able to reliably measure the skin translucency stuff with, it's not crazy, but they need to drive those LEDs. And so they're probably not going to have external FETs because they're too big as a package. And so you'd probably want to integrate those things. I reckon they might well have custom silicon to make that all happen.
It might be there. I think my understanding of how a heart, I wonder what stuff they're measuring. My understanding about how a heart rate sensor works is you blink an LED, some frequency, and then you can see in the response, if you measure what reflects back, basically something indicating blood flow, if I'm not mistaken. So, but yeah, I don't know what other stuff they're measuring. Temperature, what goes? Yeah, I'm kind of curious. What does Aura Ring measure?
I think they're also, if I remember correctly, a Swedish company. Do you know? Do you remember?
I'm not sure. Is Aura Ring a Swedish company?
I was only going to bring it up because the Nordic countries, and if you want to, lump in Estonia, even Latvia a little bit, have some insane tech these days. They're really booming tech-wise, and they do a good job of hard tech out of Europe as well. They really are Europe's tech hub in that sense.
Europe does seem to have a lot of specialists. So I was working on my auto router the other day.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations. It looks incredible.
Thanks. Yeah, we can show a screenshot of it for context. But so this is like one keyboard we routed. So this is like around 183 traces. We've been cracking away at this, trying to get this guy to work. Still lots and lots of problems. There's lots of useless vias and stuff like that, but slowly approximating something. The thing we've been working the most on is the speed. We want it to be super, super fast. And the general thesis is, it's not really about writing a super fast algorithm, controversially. It's about writing very, very cacheable and spatially partitioned segments. Like if you break down the problem and then you cache each sub problem, you should be able to execute very quickly.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
100% agree.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that's been really historically missing in PCB design is a sense of modularization and hierarchy.
Yeah.
And I think that's why chip design has used to get so far away in complexity from where PCBs sit.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing about chip autorouter. So now 2 people have told me that chip autorouter, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn on this.
Yeah.
Definitely not. But chip autorouters might actually be easier than PCB autorouters, weirdly enough.
Yeah, that makes some sense.
And the theory behind that is, well, chips have a lot more layers, and it's easier to do certain things when you have a lot of layers. Like you can say this layer is only going to do this, and you basically can break down the problem in slightly easier ways. One convention we use in PCB autorouting, or PCB routing in general, is we'll say like horizontally, like most traces are going to be on layer 2. Vertically, they're going to be, whatever. You get to do a lot more of those kind of rule of thumb patterns and have entire algorithms built on those rule of thumbs for chip routers. But I never thought this was true. I've never written a chip router or routed a chip, so I have no idea.
Go ahead,
if
you
it's true.
toot that horn, Seve. Toot away.
But maybe my problem is harder than whatever NVIDIA's doing.
Yeah, I think tscircuit is more complex than NVIDIA's toolchain.
That AMD can't replicate and is worth 100 billion less for it or whatever.
That's why tscircuit is more valuable than AMD these days.
Well, I mean, honestly, get in now. But some people have been contributing to this, and they are like professional algorithm developers from the Netherlands and stuff like that. Yeah,
and I'm like contributing to tscircuit.
Yeah, like
fuck yeah, dude, it's awesome.
I think a lot of people collectively want this. I think actually the Overton window for autorouting is shifting, where people are starting to say, okay, maybe it doesn't make sense because like there are all these staunch. I actually posted something
for PCB autorouters. You mean?
Yeah, for PCB autorouters. I think people are slowly shifting towards maybe we should have some form of autorouting because. So conventionally, everybody hates autorouters. Even when I posted, I got on the front page of Hacker News with some post about autorouters. The first comment is, I'm in the camp, never use the autorouter. That was like the first comment. And that is very like standard. That's what people believe. But you can tell that even like that comment was like, but I'm starting to see some stuff because people just can't like they're starting to see if all that automation is hitting software where we didn't necessarily expect it to work so well and be so sweeping. It surely should go into these other areas.
And it changes expectations too. Like if you are a company developing some product, you're Aura for argument's sake, right? Your software team has to build an app. They need to build the Bluetooth stack algorithms to work out what your heart and body's doing in general. And they're hacking away. They've got a cell system, and all of a sudden they go to the sensor team or the hardware team and say, "Hey guys, we're close now." And the hardware team's like, "No worries, 18-month program, we'll be there soon." It's like, hold on, you guys wait. It's like, hell no. What do you mean you wait? Get out of here. Get someone who wants to do things quickly.
It's way more obvious the slow places in a company that haven't adopted AI when everything around it speeds up, right? So that should be more clear in hardware soon, although it definitely will be slow moving.
I saw a meme the other day someone had made of it was like Pac-Mans eating one another, or bigger and bigger fish, something like that. And it started off with manufacturing is, well, the biggest one is, the smallest one was software is eating the world. And then the bigger one was hardware is eating the world. And then manufacturing is eating the world. And honestly, it's true because like they sort of overlaid this with their like, okay, yeah, guys, that's why China's here on the far left. Is that realistically, like if you have a strong manufacturing base, then, well, in their case, you're able to build obviously a smelter, aluminium smelter, ballistically fast. You've got the electrical supplies, you've got the expertise, etc. And while they might be having a hard time getting the chips at the moment to build like similar caliber training centers for AI to the US, it's a matter of time, and
Right.
they're trying really. If you let them have them, they would outclass the US like that in terms of actually constructing those.
Yeah.
Which is why, of course, there are these trade tariffs, embargoes,
Trade wars.
trade wars, whatever you want to call it. On this specifically, and this is bipartisan. Like this was the Biden administration that first had the CHIPS Act barring them from a lot of this, and so this is mutually agreed across the board. And it's really to say that you kind of do need to figure out how to do things in the physical world as well as just write good software if you want to be a world-class player.
Absolutely. And I think, software is eating the world made a lot of sense for a long time. And it still will make a little bit of sense because we're going to start seeing software in everything. And, it'll be the union of these things that's impressive. But the main reason that people don't innovate in the physical world right now is it's just really, really hard because there's no
so
assistance.
painful.
You have to know so much. And it's funny because some of the smartest people I know, if like I had to write them down, they're all people who traverse the entire stack of like the physical world to the software world and can move between it because there is so much to know in that pipeline. But these are not the most well compensated people I know. Because like it makes sense to hyper specialize, and just in general, electrical engineers are not as well compensated as software engineers, it seems.
Yeah, and Macis are often even worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, mechanical engineering in the CAD there is very interesting. We should check TechCrunch. Did you hear about this? Like,
No. Do tell.
I think I'm duped on it. It's April Fool's Day, our day of recording.
Oh crap, we're screwed.
And the Atom CAD company, like code for creating 3D models, said that TechCrunch was going to give them or was going to write some, what do you call it? An article that like shames someone, that brings up all their dirty laundry.
Oh, hey. Slander?
Slander?
I think it's a
Yeah.
legal term. A hit piece, really.
A hick piece. Yeah.
So is there a TechCrunch hit piece on Atom? I know the Atom guys. They're working on something really cool. I wonder what TechCrunch says about them.
You know what? I think I got duped.
You got duped. Oh, man. So Atom, for those who are interested, is a company that's building basically I guess the analogous term in biology would be a dry lab. So they're building kind of cloud. They're making modular sort of development, debugging, cloud-based electronics. And so you can get basically a robot to assemble a circuit for you on the other side of the world and say, now put an oscilloscope on that pin. And you don't need a hardware lab anymore, is their pitch, which is really freaking cool.
What's the name of this company?
ADOM, I think.
ADOM.
Cool company, but Atom, that was a YC company I noticed there.
To me, this feels like the hottest company in text to CAD.
Okay.
Yeah. So like basically you can type things and then it will create the CAD object for it.
Okay. Yeah, cool.
So whenever anybody does text to CAD sort of thing, I always test it by asking it to create a chip. I'll like upload a screenshot of a chip.
Okay.
Just to see if it can get the components, because that would be a big unlock for me. I want to do 3D renders, and we have to create this big library of 3D.
And I see package this is specifically, right?
Yeah. Like I'll be like, create an SSOP package or something like that. It's not very good, and nobody's very good at it. Atom is probably the best because at least they have like some way to spatially arrange things that look okay, but it never looks like a chip. But yeah, these guys are pretty cool. Even if TechCrunch doesn't have a hit piece, If
TechCrunch doesn't have a hit piece, how do we know they're serious?
Yeah, how do we know they're real? If nobody wants to take you down, are you real? Somebody told me for every 20K followers you get on Twitter, you get one hater who it seems like their entire life is dedicated to just taking you down. So looking forward to that milestone.
Wow. What are you
time.
at the moment?
I'm at 2.8. So,
wow.
Yeah.
You have a lot of followers, man.
I got like 700 from this auto-router post.
That was an incredible post. I mean, it had 1,300 likes or that magnitude.
It got a lot of likes. So this post is 13 things I would have told myself before building an auto-router.
Okay, let's go through the titles. What are they? No A star.
No
like the back
A
of your hand.
star. implementation language doesn't matter. It's very self-serving.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that's a something that someone who writes in scripting languages would say.
Hey, Python's not that fast either.
No, it's even slower. But we do Python and C++ as the core.
Okay.
And perfectly happy to mix in some Rust and in the mix as well. Because that's how you get things to be performant. Is Python is like, I hate to tell you a secret, Seve, so I might just whisper it, but Python's actually just a sneaky way to get C++ in your code. Like it's
Python is just a C++ wrapper.
Python's just a C++ wrapper.
Yeah, that is an advantage of Python. I think JavaScript still has a ways to go because WASM is not that efficient and it's a bit hard to load in every context where JavaScript is used.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the point here is that a lot of people, I feel like, will jump into C or C++. And actually, some people reached out to me like, oh, you should move this to FPGAs. Like, you should go even lower level. Because they just assume that it's like a solved algorithm. And you just need to execute it fast.
Yeah.
Not at all the case. So far.
Totally. No, you start high level and you work down as you can. That's the beauty of our modern tool set. It's something that our predecessors didn't get to do.
Exactly.
I was amazed by this actually, but one of my good friends in high school's dad was this incredible contributor to Arduino. He wrote, like, he was everywhere, all over the forums. He was key to the Arduino project.
That's awesome.
And I only found this out after years. I saw his website link pop up and I was like, oh, that's funny. He's a gammon who lives in Melbourne. Like, my friend's gammon, I mention it. And he's like, oh yeah, no shit, dad's back there, like, coding all night long on this thing. Really cool. Turns out he wrote the first, I want to say it was like, I'm just pulling the language out of my ass, but I think it was the first like Pascal compiler for a Commodore 64 computer or something like that.
Whoa,
and it was roughly that era, but he had to only use half the memory, write an assembly code for the first bit, and then compile, and then it would fill up the other half with the actual compiler and a new workspace, and then he would wipe the first half and then compile back to the other half.
Whoa.
So you have to bootstrap, like we bootstrapped computers with assembly, right?
Man, things were hardcore back then.
Things were hardcore. So we get to go the other direction, Seve. It's easy for us. We get to stand in the shoulders of these giants, really.
Yeah. I mean, when I'm writing autorouter algorithms, my take right now is autorouters are actually 100 algorithms. And you have to like implement all of these sub algorithms and like work on them all. Like there's like many sub algorithms.
Yep.
And when I'm making a sub algorithm, I just ask Claude to implement it and visualize it and show me it works.
Yeah.
And that's always my first step.
Not Gemini now?
Have I tried Gemini?
Well, it came out yesterday, didn't it?
Oh my gosh, Gemini
2.5.
2.5 Pro. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's definitely solved problems, even within what we're talking about, within algorithms that the other models couldn't solve. So I would have like 3.7 Sonnet up and Gemini. And Gemini would like finally crack things that it just couldn't be cracked.
That's cool. So you can give them an algorithm. You say, hey, implement the algorithm in this context with these basically semantics. Like, here's what the path I want you to walk looks like. Figure out how to do that efficiently.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool.
Just does it, gives you a visual.
That's awesome.
But in my case, and I would encourage other people to do this, Gemini 2.5 Pro has a 1 million context window. It's the largest context window for this kind of high-end model.
Yeah.
And so you can use something like repo mix, dump your entire repo into it. And if you have a bug, dump your repo and then just like ask it to try to fix your bug.
Can it work agentically or?
No. Okay. It's very much like, for me, I'm usually pretty desperate in a lot of these situations. So I will give it like, thousands of logged lines, like from executing program.
Yeah. All the context at once, all one shot.
Exactly.
Is it a reasoning model or?
Yes.
Okay, right.
Yes, it'll think.
Functioning agentically is not useful for it then.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you also seem to be able to, a lot of people releasing thinking models, we don't know if they're showing us the actual thinking or not. Sometimes they summarize the thinking to prevent theft of thinking tokens.
Okay.
But I believe you can see the actual thinking with Gemini.
Cool.
So you can open a box and you can see everything it's thinking through. And it's really, really cool. It breaks things down a lot.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That's super awesome. I love to hear that. Okay. So, I mean, I always love to hear about your mode of working as well, Seve, because you are absolutely on the tee of how to configure an AI workspace. So, sorry, what's the workspace dump?
So repo mix is the dump utility. So you basically, it's a CLI command line tool, and you can just do repo mix and then give it a directory or a repository. You can even use it online. So you can go to repomix.com, put in your URL, and it will create this sort of big text bundle of your repository.
Right.
And you can even say, oh, I want you to ignore these files or something like that. So there's lots of ways to configure it.
And then what do you do with this text bundle?
You just you copy and paste it.
You literally just copy it and dump it into Gemini's like web client.
Gemini definitely has the worst interface. So
you're not Cursor. You don't just like at workspace Gemini Pro model. You using bespoke tools. Is there a reason for that over just using something like Cursor?
I like to go direct. When I use Cursor directly, and again, like people keep telling me Cursor's great. Maybe I'm using it wrong or something. But I want to know that I know what's in context so that I get like ultra reliable results. Cursor at the very least gets updated a lot, and I know it has some context that I can't see, like it's looking at my tabs or something. So I just want to know the context that's being given. And a lot of times Cursor, because they pay for the model, with at least unless you have it configured differently. But for a lot of people, they're paying for the model. You don't know that they are giving tons of context.
They're not being stingy.
My problems, they're $1 million problems. I want you to use all the context you can on them. But I do think Cursor might be being stingy.
Scandalous. You're going to write a hit piece as well? Or?
I'm writing a hit piece on Cursor. I'm currently working on it. And Windsurf. I'm going to take them all down one fell swoop.
Continue.dev as well? They seem nice.
Continue.dev just came out with a new thing. Did you see their new thing?
What is it?
Continue.dev is going through a little bit of a pivot. So for people who don't know, Continue.dev is one of the OG, like first AI extensions. And it was a VS Code extension. So
makes sense.
They sort of took this maybe erroneous path of doing a VS Code extension rather than a fork. Because Cursor came out somewhat after Continue, and did a full fork and got like the one feature, in my opinion, that kind of changed the game, which is those Command K diffs that you can't just get from VS Code. Anyway, Continue released a new feature where they're going to allow people to basically construct custom helpers. So and I was talking to one of the founders, I think, on Hacker News about this. Basically, what
someone on Hacker News said that with the founder.
I didn't really do my background research, but they said like, okay, so you want people to be able to use tscircuit really easily, so you can create like basically Continue bot thing that is tscircuit that they install, and then it'll know tscircuit. And I think it can execute actions too.
That's cool. So you as a tscircuit bot can do whatever, TS compile, or what's the...
I think you can have it execute actions. So I can have it compile the tscircuit code. And I think you can also give it access to documentation. So it can also just be a repo for documentation. So like right now, and I don't know if you have this problem, but most AI don't know about tscircuit. I put into context our docs. Do you use the LLMs.txt yet?
LLMs.txt? No, I've been like maybe egregiously Cursor specific because it's just typically what we end up using here at Atopile. So I use Cursor rules, but it sounds like a more generic version of that. LLMs.txt.
So LLMs.txt is a new protocol for people to give their documentation in a way that LLMs can understand. And a lot of people say it's unnecessary. There's a lot of debate around it, but...
How does the documentation look different to a README, for example?
There's different opinions on this, but my view is it's all of your documentation in one text file that's kind of condensed and doesn't have all the junk that HTML has. So basically, it's something you can copy and paste into Claude.
So do you have an LLM's TXT compiler that strips all your docs for you, or is it just...
Well, I use RepoMix again to create my LLM's TXT. But other people will do different forms of LLMs TXT, they might include links. So it's almost like, hey, this is a really friendly way for AI to scrape my website. Like I'm giving you all the information in the best way for you to read it.
Come get it.
Yeah, exactly. I would love for AI to know how to use tscircuit, but it's been difficult to get indexed.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a cheat code there. If you know a cheat code to getting ChatGPT to know about me, please let me know.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Well, that was a few rabbit warren stuff there, but really interesting. So Gemini 2.5 slaps, incredible. That's awesome. I've learned about repo mix, and llm.txt, which I'm going to have to give a try.
Yep.
That's awesome. And it's cool to see that those sub algorithms are like genuinely working at a level. Well, it's getting LLMs to work in the way that we've all wanted them to for a little while, which is like, hey, implement this function, and it actually does a good job.
Yes.
'Cause typically it can get you a little ways, but for a fast API backend or something that's ubiquitous and well documented and everyone loves. But if you need something a bit more bespoke, it kind of falls off the rails pretty easily.
Right. And probably my number one complaint with AI code right now is it isn't like that compatible with AI to just ask AI to keep editing your code. It actually becomes sloppier and sloppier over time.
Yes.
So you really, like, at some point, the next unlock for AI coding will be when AI writes code that's actually gets cleaner each time.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of the Boy Scout rule or the Boy Scout principle?
I haven't heard it called that way, but I think I know what you're going to say.
So the idea with the Boy Scout principle for maintaining software is the rule from the Boy Scouts is leave the campsite better than how you found it.
Yeah.
And so if you apply this to code bases, the code base is always going to be a little bit cleaner every time you add something to it.
Yeah.
And so AI definitely doesn't do this right now. No. It will stack the code and get sloppier and sloppier over time.
Yeah. Well, do you use pre-commit or a similar kind of like linter for JavaScript, TypeScript?
I use a thing like Biome for formatting, but I don't have many linters. I should probably have more linters.
Because that's the thing is, so we're going in a similar direction where we attempt to, wherever reasonable, we do this like pretty infrequently, but crack in extra linter rules when we're close. Occasionally we'll just like sort of run them all and be like, well, this one only had 3 errors and the line too long, we can fix that 3 times over.
Right.
Fix that, next one in. And that way this is it. It's the Boy Scout rule where you can crack it up.
Yeah.
And so if LLMs really got that premise, they could totally do the same thing,
Yeah. Especially if linters start to incorporate AI, like, because I have a lot of arbitrary rules I like, just like for naming variables. Like one of my favorite rules is never use the word data. Just never use it. There's always a more descriptive term. Do you call a variable? Like, that would be a terrible variable name. So,
in a lot of languages, you couldn't even call an int an int.
Right.
Just be like, int. Well, that's a keyword.
But then we cheat and we just write I anyway. So, we kind of do it.
Very, very true. Seve, I think we might need to hurry up if we're going to go through all 13 rules, but I would love to see them just because it would be a 2-hour episode in one.
No, I think, all right, we're going to rapid fire. Spatial hash indexing better than tree data structures.
What does that even mean? I'm sorry, I said speed up, but I'm going to need an explanation.
So when you're doing like spatial like algorithms, a lot of people will recommend using this thing called a quad tree, which is where you segment your space into 4 regions and you do that recursively and it goes really deep.
Okay.
So it's log n to find objects, which is much better than searching the entire space. And so a lot of people go, that's great. But there's something faster, which is a spatial hash index.
Okay.
And it's the same as a hash map. These kind of data structures that hash your object's location so you can quickly look up all objects within like a bucket or a cell.
That's cool.
So this tends to be more performant.
Did you make this graphic?
So this actually goes into, maybe this is a good transition point because I made this with a combination of Claude and ChatGPT 4.0, which now has image generation.
Oh, and it's good.
Yes.
The text is all cracked. It spelled everything right.
Everything is... I did actually have to get it to make one correction. It spelled something weird wrong. I think it forgot an E on grouped or something, which I was like, that's weird.
But damn, it's good. It looks just like XKCD.
No, it looks amazing. And this entire article only took 2-3 hours to write. And I think it was helped by just how easy it was to make the images, because
That's so
I
cool.
knew I needed images. But maybe we should jump over to 4.0, because this has got to be the biggest thing this week.
Everyone Ghiblifying their girlfriends.
Ghiblifying their girlfriend. Let me see. Do I have a Ghibli example here? I've got to have one. I put together all my favorite like little There we go. So yeah, all of Twitter for the past week has been Ghibli recreations of memes or, you know, people's girlfriends. But did you text your girlfriend with a Ghibli?
I Ghiblified my girlfriend.
I did too. We Ghiblified everything, like pictures with puppies. It just works for everything.
I would love to see Ghiblified be the word of the year. I don't know. It's only.
Is there a word of the year? There's got to be a word of the year
every year.
Oh, it's got to be Ghiblified.
We got to make it happen, guys. Make Ghiblified the word of the year. We can do this.
It's kind of similar to the word vilified, which I'm sure has some kind of, you know, but yes, lots.
So some of the impressive things about the image generation in 4.0 now, one, it can faithfully make subtle changes, which is extremely important. You and I building compilers, this is bedrock of the intent of that compiler, is
absolutely
being able to make really small, distinct changes reliably. And they've done it with presumably a diffusion model. I don't know what it is in the back end.
There's been some speculation because the way it loads in is very peculiar. So people think it's a mix of models, but it definitely includes a transformer and some latent 4.0 stuff. But I'm not 100% sure what makes it off.
But the fact that you can say change this one aspect and it doesn't mess with the rest of the image is incredibly valuable.
So useful.
It's
really, this is the MVP of image generation in a lot of ways. Before, it was so hard to use and you had to force yourself to find examples.
You basically had to say, make 10 of these, and then you would pick one. And then if it was wrong in any way, you were screwed.
You're screwed. You're done. Yeah. And never with text.
No, God, no.
Yeah, you're always avoiding text. You're probably editing in Photoshop after, stuff like that. But yeah, no, now you can just easily create stuff. I think I made some other, let me see if I...
So it can do text as well, which is magnificent. Wow, yeah, awesome graph.
This one, this was made with 4.0. This is another one where I first had Claude make the graphs. So I literally had a graph. So you could
write the article about it? So you could write the article about the graph?
I had Claude like literally like draw these curves because it still can't like do that stuff totally properly, but the combination of the things makes it work. Do I have another? This one too, you know, this is basically clip art, but now I don't have to find clip art, you know, just gets it. And this one as well. This one was basically useless from an information perspective, but it's so useful. There's so many use cases coming out. So this is another one for 4.0. Bun, which is a TypeScript runtime, they started releasing their release notes with these cute graphics.
That's adorable. It's so cute.
It's adorable. I think it's mostly not good. Like, I don't know if I would recommend this because I've tried to read this like I would read a changelog.
Okay.
And it's so hard to like parse and understand what's really there.
I think I might also want a changelog. I don't think I would exchange them one for one, you know?
It's very cute though. So the applications are going to be endless. Do I have another? Oh yeah, of course in education, like
no idea. Creating a monster. America's thirst.
Like there's so many opportunities for interesting mediums for this. So somebody was proposing remaking like history content, but using these kind of like miniature things, you know? It just kind of like makes it so much more visual if you can imagine like an entire story. Because we're always telling stories in history classes, but you don't usually have visuals to go along with that story.
Yeah, wow. It's beautiful too.
Yeah.
Magnificent.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, 4.0. Wow. How have they done the motion there? They've animated as well. Can 4.0 do that?
So what people are doing is taking 4.0 output and putting it into a bunch of image things. I think in this case, this could be Sora, which I don't know. Maybe Sora didn't get a refresh. I'm not sure actually.
Yeah, wow. I mean, honestly though, like you clearly see by stacking these tools together, you can make beautiful content so easily. This is magnificent.
All right. One of my favorite Ghibli memes was the recreation of famous scenes in tech from just like recreating them. So do you recognize this scene?
I don't. What's that?
That's Elon Musk. And this is after the first, or maybe
SpaceX,
the third SpaceX failure where it blew up into a bunch of pieces, and they're analyzing the wreckage. And there's a bunch of these. Okay, let's see if I have anything else for. I just liked this one.
Muppet.
Do you recognize this movie?
No, I don't know what it's called. Tell me.
It's now I'm blanking. Hold on.
Oh no, it's the one with the skull as his on his ute, right? On his truck. Is it like the Vindicator, something like that?
Yeah, it's something like. Hold on.
So it's the outlaw that is probably in the comments.
It probably is in the comics. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, let's look at the comments here. Okay, we've got a lot of variants.
Okay. Oh god,
We're never gonna know.
Yeah. Okay. So we're never gonna find that. So anyway,
I knew I was gonna need to know this before we recorded today. I knew I was gonna, and then I forgot to look it up.
Oh damn!
Something Runner, I think.
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
Oh, it's Blade Runner. Okay, that's not what I was guessing, but
yes, Blade Runner.
A very famous movie. It is really going to change art in general. It already has. It's annoying the shit out of artists, and I don't blame them because they've learned a lifetime getting to be an expert in their mode, right?
Yeah.
Like whatever they do.
Absolutely.
And I think there's just the incredible thing about AI in general and computer systems. This came to mind the other day because a company was working on actually training real human neurons that they've grown in a jar and connecting it to a computer somehow to do tasks. And apparently it's better at some things. That's great. I'm glad. But also, if you want two of the things, well, now you have to train another whole human brain.
That's true.
It's terrible. But with 4.0, clearly, everyone in the world started Ghiblifying their girlfriends at the same time.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And the reproducibility of it is just off the charts. Like, you think Catholic rabbits can breed? Like, seriously, a computer program is what? Like, literally probably 4 orders of magnitude
That's a really
faster.
That's a really interesting thought. We basically skipped over human cloning. Human clones would have been worse than GPT-4o. You can't copy them fast enough.
You have to train them.
Yeah, it's very true.
It's an incredible rate that we're heading at. And, well, I wonder what I'm going to talk to you about next week.
Yes. All right. Talk soon.
Thanks, Seve.